good morning. Welcome to Zoar and the blacksmith shop. And in here is where all the iron and steel items were made for the village. And they also work for neighboring communities as well, if you needed a blacksmith. So primarily iron and steel, and they made everything from iron and steel. Now today we don't use iron because iron is really rare. There's not a lot of iron around anymore, other than recycling. So everything today we use is iron. So there's different grades of iron, and in fact there's a grade of iron that was called wrought iron. You may have heard of wrought iron. Because we don't have that any longer, we have a low grade steel available to us. So a lot of these items that we make for decorative items, decorative purposes, are going to be made of a low grade steel, and it kind of mimics wrought iron. So before we get started here with a demo or two, I want to say hi to Colleen Cooper-Smith from Texas. Thank you for watching. She's a descendant, and I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. And we're going to give you a little bit of a demo real quick here for nail making. I'll just do one nail, and then I want to do a twist. So I'll take you over to the vise, and we're going to heat up a piece of steel. For decorative purposes, we add twists to things like fire pokers. Sometimes we can do that for like a hook. Okay, so I will want to add a decorative twist to something, again like a fire poker. I'm going to show you the steps involved with making the decorative twist. So we have today our fires ready to go, and this is going to be a coal fire. Now a coal fire is not traditional for blacksmiths. They traditionally would have used wood, and by wood I mean a hard wood which they have coked over, and I do the same thing with coal. I coke it over. So I've got green coal here, and I got my coke in the center. So when you do that with wood, you actually coke it over, and it's called charcoal. So then when it actually is burning, it's called charcoal. And then the raw wood would be over here on the side, unless you pre-make that. And then it's all going to be, of course, the same consistency. So the purpose of a fire is to warm up our workpiece, our steel or our iron. So what we have to do is we need to force oxygen up through the fire. No matter what it is, solid fuel has to have oxygen forced through it to make it really hot. Otherwise, it kind of goes into a bit of a mode where it's just cooling down, and then when you put your work in, then you add the air. So we can see now it's even hotter yet. So what we're actually looking for, the temperature-wise, it equates color to temperature. So when it turns a reddish, we know we're at about 1,300 degrees, 1,300. You can see now it's starting to cool off there. It's a dark red. So it's going down into about 12 or 1,100 degrees now. And then when it goes black, that's about 1,000 degrees, about 950 degrees. So we don't work with red hot steel. We have to work with either a bright orange or into a yellow. And that's going to be about 2,000 degrees. So again, if we keep something that's red hot, that's about 1,200, 1,300 degrees. And then a really bright red, that's going to be about 1,500 degrees. And it's going to start to go into a mellow looking orange, bright orange, yellow, and then a white heat is about 2,400 degrees. So what I need now to do a demo for this nail, I had to make it malleable. And right there, that's what we're looking for. It's into a decent orange there. So that's approaching 2,000 degrees. That makes it malleable. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how I draw out a nail. And this nail, now it's going to be drawn with the tip first, the end of the nail. I've got a few nails here. This is what they look like. These are hand-forged nails, and these are 3/16 nails. So the first thing you have to decide is, do I want to make a 1/4 inch nail, or an 1/8 inch nail, or a 3/16 nail. That is not the length, that is the dimension of the shank. Right here at the base of the head. That's the dimension of the shank. That's 3/16. Of course, it has a point on it, so it's not 3/16 at the point, but it's 3/16 here at the shank, for about 2 inches long is 3/16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw one out of 1/4 inch. I can't forge something larger. I have to forge it smaller. So I have 1/4 inch steel. Get it up to temperature, and then we're going to forge it out. And forging simply means to draw this out with pressure. Moving the steel or the iron. So I've drawn my point out. That's the first step. That's forging. Okay? We move the steel or the iron. So the next thing to do is I'm going to come back here to the near corner of my anvil, and I'm going to offset this, and it's going to set down a shoulder. So there's a set down, and there's my shoulder. It has a shoulder in it. And I'm going to do that on 2 sides. And I'm just going to roll it back and forth. And as I do that, that's going to allow me to forge it on all 4 sides. The anvil works from the bottom, the hammer works from the top down. And it basically it's compressing the steel, and that's what moves it outward. Forging. So I'm going to hit this with a little bit of air. So fire, it's about 3,500 degrees. I need to obtain about 2,000 degrees on my workpiece. If I had a fire that was 2,000 degrees, and I need my workpiece to become 2,000 degrees, it's going to take a while. So, I add a lot of extra air to it. It brings the fire up to about 3,500 degrees. Therefore, it speeds up the heating of my workpiece to upwards to about 2,000. And again, that temperature is it's going to be the color that we're looking for. Nice bright orange. There's the shank. That's going to be about 3/16. And then I'm going to center up the head. Again, that is not the length, that is the size of the shank. And what we're going to do is we're going to check this out. So how do we know it's 3/16? Well, usually by eyesight, you can get a pretty good idea. So the next thing we're going to do, we have this handy dandy tool here, which is a sizer. This is marked 3/16. So if this is 3/16, it should slide up to where the head is at. And it's not quite there just yet. I have to forge just a freckle more to bring it up to the bottom of the head. Okay, I forced it down a little bit thinner. So this is going to slide up to that shoulder. There's the shoulder. It slid up to the shoulder. I know I have 3/16. If I go too far, it's going to be really, really wobbly and wiggly in here. And that means I've gone down too far. I need it just to slide up to be somewhat snug and stop at the shoulder. So that shoulder now becomes the head of the nail. So how do we separate this? Okay, I've got 24 inches here, and I need to separate that. Well, I had to cut it off. I'm not sure how many nails I could get out of this. It kind of depends on how long you would make each nail, of course. So I'm going to reheat this. Now this goes a lot quicker if I don't keep stopping and telling you how to do this. You primarily heat it up one time to make a nail. A nail this size would take about 40 seconds or 45 seconds or so. Okay, we have to cut this. I've got a cutter. I lay it on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this all the way around. Okay? Now, if I cut it back here, it's going to be too long. If I cut it off the shank, too short. So I need to have just enough material that I can forge out a head. Now, there it is, right there. There's the head of the nail. Now, if I cut it clean off, it's going to shoot out across the floor, and I have to go pick it up. So, because I'm telling you this, it's cooled off. So what I'm going to do, I have to reheat this, and then I'll break it off. If I break it off, I don't have to go chasing it across the floor. Add some air, it brings the temperature of the fire back up, about that 3,500 degree mark. All I'm going to do now is just want to heat the head, but because this is drawn down to a point, it'll burn off, so I got to be really careful with that. Okay, here's our header tool again. All right, I'm going to break this free, and what that does, allows me to head this nail now. Now it's flat. I give it 4 strikes to make a point on the end of the head. And there's our nail right there. That's the guy we're looking for right there. Okay, so you would spend all day hand forging out all of these nails. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, let's get rid of these guys. I'm going to do, real quickly here, this is called a decorative twist. It's a reverse twist. This is a right twist, and this is a left-hand twist. And the reason we put them together is because we call it a reverse twist, because it comes up on the right and then it goes to the left immediately together like that. Now, if this is a fire poker, it's going to be really long. It's going to be about 3 foot long. This is just a sample piece here. So that's what we'll do. I have one here that's already marked out. So this is marked out 4-inch increments here and here. This is 1 inch. That's how much material we want to have left over on each end. And then the center point is between the 2 fours. So I'm going to have 2 twists, 4 inches long, and they're going to be back to back, and that's called a reverse twist. So we have to heat this guy back up here. Again, we're looking for about the 2,000 degree mark, and this is going to be really important. If I twist one end 1 full turn, I have to twist the opposite side 1 full turn in the opposite direction. That gives us our reverse twist. And the temperature is important, because if I heat one up to 1750 and the other one to 2,200 degrees, the twists will not match. So I have to look at this very carefully when I pull it out of the fire and identify the temperature. If it is 2,000 degrees, I am golden, good to go. I put it in the clamp and we perform the twist. If the temperature is not quite warm enough, the twist will not have the proper shape and configuration. So I need to have equal temperature on both sides. And I don't do it together. I do one, cool it off, and I do the other. So you got to remember what color that you looked at. If it's a nice bright orange on one, then it needs to be a nice bright orange on the other. So here we are. See, we're getting really close now. We're going to walk over here to the vise, clamp it in the vise, and right away I have to start twisting. It's going to cool down. So I'm going to identify where I center punch this at. I locate that, and then that is how far I clamp it into the vise. Now here's our vise. We're going to find where our center punch is at. That's at 1 inch right there. This is my twisting tool. Just behind the center punch mark, I'm going to go 1 full turn to the right. I'm going to the right side. And then I simply stop when it lines back up again. Okay, there we are. There's 1 right-hand turn twist. Now the reverse twist, how do we do that? We cool this off, we heat this section here, and it's going to have the striking resemblance of a double reverse twist. In the water we go. Basically now what we're going to do, we're going to start all over again. Okay. The only thing different now is we have a twist here, and this is untwisted. So when I heat this back up, I'm going to have to cool this right here to the center punch mark, right there. I have to cool it. And then this will twist and this will not. So back to the fire we go. Bring this back up to that magical 2,000 degrees, nice bright orange, almost into a yellow color. And if you have problems seeing colors like I do, I'm telling you that it's a nice bright orange, and it may not be because I'm almost colorblind. So I kind of have to trick myself into thinking, okay, that looks like that's probably going to be 2,000 degrees, maybe just into a yellow. And some people will see orange, and some people may see a different shade of yellow. You know that it's too hot when it turns white and the sparks come out. And therefore, you've reached welding temperature and you're actually damaging it because you don't leave a piece in there and allow it to continue to spark when you're welding. You want to bring it up to it just starts a freckle of a spark, and that's how you know you're at welding heat. Let's dig her back out here, find out what we got here. Okay, so now we're getting into a pretty decent orange, a little bit more, and you want to heat this back up into the first twist. Gotta heat that up about 1 inch in. Slightly cover it up. That way it kind of helps hold the heat in and it heats it up quicker. If we were to take this piece of 1/2 inch square stock and lay it right on top of the fire, it would probably take from a cold state about 8 minutes to heat up to 2,000 degrees. So we want to slightly bury it down in there and help hold the heat in. All right, now what I've got to do is I've got to pull this out, quench the first twist. We've got to get rid of that heat. Now we're going to clamp this tightly into our vise. And now we do another twist, but we're going to go the opposite direction, right? We have to go to the left. All right, here we are. Now we're going to go to the left. We're going to do one full turn to the left. And we stop when everything's lined up. All right. So now we can see we have a second twist. We have a first twist here, and it's reversed. Right hand and immediately into a left hand twist. We would brush this off, and then because you twisted it, you've bent it. It's got a little bit of a fishtail to it. So how do we correct that? We have a wooden mallet that we can strike it with a wooden mallet, and it will not damage these sharp corners here. If we take our forging hammer and we were to try to straighten it out, yeah, that's going to damage those corners. So what we do, we lay it across the anvil, and we can strike it with a wooden mallet, and it'll square it back up again. And you want to do that when it's still warm. And then if you're happy with that, one last brush. Then we would cool this off in the bucket. If this is a fire poker or a hook, then we would continue to forge out the hook or the fire poker. So there is, you can see that. There again is our reverse twist. Right hand and left hand, and this is why we call it a reverse twist, because it goes immediately from one to another. I hope you guys got something out of that. I've enjoyed performing some of these simple tasks for you, and I hope you have an opportunity to visit Zoar sometime in the near future. Any questions? Well, good to go then.
All right. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
John, your daughter was watching if you want to say hi.
Oh, I'm good.
All right, we're going to move on to our next stop. Here is the wagon shop. We're not visiting that today. We do have a woodwright. His name is Randy. So this is the wagon shop. We're going to be coming up on the Zoar Hotel. We will have a live video Saturday evening inside the Zoar Hotel, trying to find some paranormal activity inside the hotel. If a nighttime tour isn't your thing, we will be posting a daytime virtual tour on one of the Tuesdays at 10 a.m. And that is with Miss Beverly taking us through the hotel. And that will be a 3-part series, because there's a lot of history that goes with the hotel. So we have some descendants watching from Texas and California, and seems like kind of all over. So thank you for joining us. The hotel. Coming up on the Zoar store as well. The store is where we house our gift shop today. And the Zoar store has been some form of a store since 1833. It's the hotel. Someone asked for a brewing demonstration. We would if we could. So, we do have planned for later in the year a cider and cellars tour. So that might be the closest thing that we get to a brewing demonstration. This is the treasurer's house. Now Zoar today is a mix of private and museum buildings. Here is the town hall. And we are approaching the number 1 house, which is our next stop.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and students, and all classmates and teachers. Okay, welcome to the number 1 house. My name is Tom, and I'm a tour guide, or a volunteer tour guide here at Zoar, and this is number 1 house. Come on in, I'll show you around. originally, this number one house was built in 1835. It was built basically for the elderly to be in nursing homes, okay? They really went all out and they built this home for the elderly because by 1835, a lot of the people from 1817 were getting older. So they brought the elderly in here and they were going to do it. The elderly came through this front door. They took one look around this place and they saw how big it was and how nice it was. They said, we'll give you 1 month. So 1 month they hired maidens and caretakers from Canton that came down here to take for the elderly. After a month, all the elderly, they all had the right to vote, they all voted against leaving here. The reason being was they thought it was too big, too massive, and it looked like a hospital. So with that thought, all the elderly came and they went across the street and they lived with their families. At that point in time, the town then decided to have this beautiful vacant building. They invited Mr. Bymiller, the founder, the guru, the top banana. He came in here to live along with 2 or 3 families from the Board of Trustees. And this is the house that we have today. Mr. Bymiller took, and his family took that side of the house that I'll take it to, and some trustees took this side of the house. There are 2 floors, and into this house, the living quarters were down here, and the bedrooms were upstairs. But just a little bit of history here. Obviously, we're talking about the late 1700s, okay, early 1800s, and the Zoarites, or the Separatists, they were living in Württemberg, Germany. And what they basically were, they were a fraction of the Lutheran Church. They did not believe that they had their own type of laws and commandments that they wanted to follow. They believed in God, they believed in Jesus Christ, but they thought there was too much stuff that was basically extracurricular type of things that the Lutherans and the Catholics did, so they were just wanted to be pious on their own. Well, basically, back in 1700, early 1800s, the German government came to these people in Württemberg, Germany, and said, we need you to fight, we need you to go to war, because now Napoleon was coming across, basically, and he was doing his thing. Well, what happened was, the Zoarites, or the Separatists back then, said, no, we do not believe in war, we will not pick up a weapon to kill another human being, let alone anything else that involves any type of civil disobedience or war. With that, the Germans said, well, what else do you guys believe in? They go, well, we're not going to send our children to your school. We believe that basically those schools are nothing but, we want to teach our children what we believe in. Well, the German government did not like that. And they basically said, well, how did you guys have to go to prison for a long time? So they put these people in prison for about 7 to 12 years, and when the people got out of prison, now Napoleon was now the king or the emperor. He declared himself Emperor of France, Emperor of Europe, and basically he was riding through the town. And what happened was the Zoarites, the Separatists, did not bow down to, did not worship Napoleon. Okay, the German government went back to the Separatists, said, "Are you going to fight for us now?" And they said, "No, we're not going to do that." So with that, the Separatists finally got permission to leave Württemberg, Germany. They made their way up to Amsterdam and went across, got into a ship, got into steerage, and it took them 2 months to get across the Atlantic Ocean, where they landed in Halifax, okay, in steerage. Now that trip takes about 8 hours via plane, or roughly about 4 weeks via boat. But then it took them 2 months because they were circling around. They got to Halifax, then they made their way down to Philadelphia. They got off the boat at Philadelphia and they started walking west, okay? They met the Quakers in Philadelphia and they said, "Move west, people, to Pittsburgh." The Quakers are very nice people. They kind of took the Zoarites, the Separatists, under their wing and said, "You know, we're going to keep you for a little bit." They were making their plans like that. But basically, the Zoarites wanted their own land. They wanted their own place to live. So the Quakers basically let the Zoarites, or the Separatists, $15,000 back in the early 1800s and said, "Move west to Zoar." They came out to here. They went through Ohio. They walked and went through Ohio. And what happened? What happened then, as they talked in Ohio, they met with a land developer or a land dealer, because all the lands around here were given by General Washington and the Congress to all the American Revolutionary heroes, and basically he sold the Zoarites for $15,000, 2 miles north, 2 miles south, east, and west from this area right here. So they owned all this land here. They called this town Zoar, which basically means a place of refuge, okay, where they want to live, okay? Now, what happened real quickly here, these are some of their principles, okay? They believe in God, etc. They're talking about marriage contracts. They're talking about schooling and things like that. and what they were worth its price for. Again, not a faction of the Lutheran religion. What happened was when they first got here, Mr. Beimler, now he was the chief scripturist and the person that held this town together, he wanted to separate the town out and giving allotments for everybody. And he goes, okay, you got Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, you take 2 acres over here, you take 2 acres over here, have a farm, have a cow, have some chickens, etc. Till the land, make sure the land is fertile, we'll get through this. And at the end of the year, we'll send everything we have left over up to Cleveland and point there under, and that's how we'll make our living. So after 1 year, ladies and gentlemen and students, they were starving to death. So Mr. Beimler said, "Look, it's not going to happen here." So what he did was he brought everybody right around the here, and he said, "I need some ideas because this is not going to work. We're all going to be vanquished at the end of one more year if we stay like this." And so with that, he gave them the option. And they all voted. Men and women had the right to vote. And they all said, let's do a communal type of village here. And so what that was one for all and all for one here in Zoar. And so what that basically meant was all the farms were now taken down. All the cows went to the dairy. All the chickens went to the hen house. All the animals that went to different pens. And now we're all working and we're all doing our thing. With that, these 200 people that were in this town, okay, basically they had certain shortages. Every day about 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, this horn was blown, and it called all the people to the townhouse, to the town square. And they were handing out tickets. You go work in the fields, you go help the baker, you go help the blacksmith, you go help the gardener, etc. And everybody then went basically and helped everybody else, okay? And help the town as a community. Again, one for all for one. This horn, by the way, lasted for 5 or 6 years, okay? I meant to mention that these Zoars had really no religious holidays. They celebrated one holiday, and that was the Feast of the Ascension, okay? But on Christmas Day, 5 years into this town here in 1820 or 1821, this horn broke on the Christmas Day, and no one stood up for work. The next day, they started ringing a big bell in the back, and everybody showed up for work. But every Christmas after that first time this horn broke, no one showed up for work. It's kind of the people saying, well, we want to celebrate Christmas too. So this horn is kind of very cute, plus it's not working anymore, but this is what they use. This is the original horn. Let me give a shout out to some students that are watching here from the McAllister School, Mr. Conte's class. And welcome aboard. Thanks for stopping in. We hope to see you in person. But what happened was, now for the students and ladies and gentlemen, was the communal way of life working well for these people? Now it's about 1824, 1825. It's starting to work, but they weren't really doing it. And remember, they owed $15,000 to the Quakers in Philadelphia. So what happened was, the Ohio Erie Canal was being built. And the Ohio Erie Canal contracted in the state of Ohio, they came down to Zoar. And they said, Zoar, can you do us a favor? We'll pay you for this. If you can dig 7 miles behind here, the Susquehanna River, which is basically south of this building here, dig 7 miles out, make it 16 feet across, or 24 feet across and 16 feet deep, and you just dig it out. And we'll pay you handsomely for it. Not only that, you install a couple of rocks to keep some of this tariff for that. So what they did, this is a small picture here, but what they did, the men and women, okay, went out back by the Susquehanna River. The Susquehanna River, they had right next to it, they dug a bunch of dirt. They had just with hose and shovels, etc. Obviously, there's no machinery, and they put all the dirt in baskets like this. They put the dirt in baskets like this, put it in carriages and wagons, and the ladies carried all this dirt across the street here and kept dumping it over there. So basically, they got their part of the Ohio Erie Canal done. And in 1825, the Ohio Erie Canal was done and ready to roll down here. Okay? So what happened then was now we're talking about 1826, 1827, and people are coming down here on the canal boat. And what they're seeing here is a beautiful little town. The state of Ohio, the people that built the dam, paid the Zoarites $21,000. With that, Mr. Beimler automatically took his $15,000 and over the Quakers and immediately ran to Pennsylvania, paid off the equipment, and he had $6,000 or $7,000 left, so he started building. And there's where you get this number one house. They put up a granary, they put up a pottery, they had a lake, they dug out the lake, they had sulfur springs. It was starting to become a very nice town, okay? And basically, now the shipping is coming down here, or the boats are coming down, the canal boats, and they come down the river, and then they talk about Zoar, we love this town. This guy, and for all the students out there, if you kind of think of Cedar Point, and you think of Disney World and Disneyland, just remember, Zoar in 1840 was this Disneyland, or this Cedar Point of Ohio. They didn't have rides, but they had picnics every day. People used to come down from Cleveland, the horses, carriages, the wagons, they used to come down the canal boat. And in 1840, they started coming down in trains, coming down by train. So basically, all of Zoar was now the recreational fun city of Ohio. This picture kind of gets you a real quick story about this picture. This picture here is basically they did everything by hand. They threshed, okay, they harvested using these pitchforks, etc. But if you notice here, all these people were in white shirts and all that. Sure, this is a Sunday Post commercial or a Post photograph, but basically what happened was, I was always kind of amazed, why all the white shirts, okay? White shirts were what the Zoar men always wore. Now, this town was basically a potato-based community, okay? They grew vegetables, but they liked their potatoes. They used the potatoes in their breweries. They used the potatoes in their bakeries. They used potatoes for a multitude of other things in this community. But yet, every week, this used to serve 5-gallon pitchers of potato water that they rolled the potatoes in at the bakery, and bring it right down here and dump it in the back, into the washing area. And that's if they wash their clothes and use potato water. Now, I told the children students that basically, you may smell it at the potato, but your white shirt is very slightly. Okay? Now, they did not really say about the starch and the pictures of the shirt. They found out that by using starch and the potato water in their shirt, it kept the bugs away, it kept the sunlight off them from getting burned. So that's what they're doing. We'll take you to another room. Another little short story is, again, we're hoping to come down here at a later date and basically kind of look around, because all this stuff is built here, all this stuff is original from the town of Zoar. And when I talk about Zoar, they had their own linen shop. This is Zoar right here. You are right around here by the tin shop. They had their own linen, their own tin shop, their leather goods cider mill, a furniture store, ironwork, a pottery, flour, wool, butter and cheese, and lumber and beer. Okay? So this was a very thriving community. One thing I like to say is that the only raw material that Zoar did not have was glass. They did not make, they couldn't make glass, they didn't have furniture that was strong enough or high enough to make glass. So what they did is they built furniture, sent it to Cleveland, and then turned their furniture to glasses with their windows together. Okay? One thing I want to point out here is everything was going along real fine here, but they had just like we're going through today, they had what they had, the Zoar epidemic. Okay? And back in 1834, 1 year before this building opened up, and 1 year before the hotel opened up, they had a man coming down the Ohio River Canal, okay? And he was very, very sick and very, very ill. They took him off of the Zoar Tavern up there. We had about 2 or 3 beds. And the man basically expired and passed away in that Zoar Tavern over there. And so the Zoarites, they basically trekked the gentleman and took him to the Zoar Cemetery and they buried him. 1 week later, students, this is where we talk about Halloween and things like that later on, but we had basically, a lady comes down from Cleveland and asks the Zoarites at the canal stop, was there a man by the name of, and I forgot his name right now, but his first name is Joshua. Was there a man that came through here? And they said, oh man, we're so sorry, but this man passed away. And he's buried up in the cemetery about a mile away. And she said, well, we have to dig him up. And basically, and they hurried and they said, no, we're not going to dig him up because he was very, very sick. She goes, well, on his clothes, so in his clothes are our babies, our money, and our jewelry. So please, you have to dig him up. 4 or 5 Zoarites said no, but she finally was going to pay enough money for the Zoarites to go and dig this gentleman up. Sure enough, they went to the cemetery, they dug up his grave, they opened up his grave, and they found that in his shirt, with his jewelry, the money, and papers, that she had. She was very thankful. She made a nice donation to the city of Zoar. But within 7 days, every person that dug that gentleman up, as well as the wife, were deceased and dead. That was basically the start of what they term now as the cholera epidemic here in Zoar. Okay? What happened was, you all know that cholera is basically a bacterial disease of bad drinking water, but they kind of said that was the way it was going to be. Very interesting thing. I want to tell the students from all the classes and anybody that's watching, we are open for ghost tours. I'm not going to take you down here, ladies and gentlemen, but when you come back in October, there are some ghosts that won't haunt this premises here, and we'll be happy to take you down, okay, into the basement area and into the top floors, okay? On the second floor of this building, real quickly, is the fact that there are bedrooms up there where all the families used to stay and sleep, but basically that's where we're at. I thank you very much for entering the number 1 house with me. I just wanted to wish you all the best for today, and please come and visit us in Zoar at your convenience, and we have a lot of festivals that are clearly planned, and good luck to you all.
Thank you, Tom.
Welcome. We're now in one of the dependent buildings in Zoar. You're going to see the kitchen and dining room where the people from number 1 house come and have their dinners. Notice that you're on a covered porch. You don't have to even come and dine. You don't have to get wet. So come on in. You're now in the dining room from number 1. This is where the people come and eat, take their meals. And a couple of things I'd like you to notice in here. We're all set up for dinner. You notice the result is pretty good. We've got a platter we can probably put a roast on, and everyone's set up ready to eat. Notice here, and one thing I really want to talk about is notice our nice stove there. And by the way, at this time particularly, I'm going to take a shout out to Mrs. Parks and their 4th grade class in Tuscarawas Valley, and to all those people who are in the Tuscarawas Valley. Note carefully the stove that we are heating this building with. It was typical of appliance that we had used in the 19th century. The Zoar people were very big on safety and efficiency, and stoves are much safer and much more efficient than a fireplace would be. You'll also notice when you toured number 1 house that there were no fireplaces in there, and that would be typical of the homes of that period. What I'd like to also point out to you, if you're familiar with a place called down the road called Camp Tuscarawas, that is where this ore was mined. You can still visit the mine down there today if you have a mine to. We mine the ore here in Zoar. We process the ore through a blast furnace into pig iron, and then we take that pig iron to the Zoar foundry where we cast it into products like this that we use and sell. So Zoar, in the 1840s and 1850s, was an industrial little town. Okay? This is our dining room. Now, one thing I wanted to point out to the detail over here in the corner, remember the Zoar was quite a religious people, and that we have a cabinet over here that says, on the top door in English, love God, not his gift, if you want him for a friend. Okay, so, that being said, we will think about that as our thought to start today, and come back into the kitchen proper. Okay? Now I'm going to have a question for you, and I'm going to let you look at this and try and guess what it is, and then we're going to get back to it in a bit and see how we're doing. Okay, so if you know what it is, well, think about it. So think about Zoar in a typical day. We'll interpret the kitchen and how the people would eat in a typical day. This time of year, or about 5 o'clock in the morning, the bell's going to ring. That's their call to get up and go to work. And most people go out for a job in the town. They're working in the blacksmith shop where you've already seen, or the tin shop, which you will see later. And some work in the field, some work in the barn. But a couple of people are going to come back here and they're going to get breakfast going. And they're going to use this device we call a pedal out. Okay? And again, safety yourself, safety and efficiency. You notice it's all enclosed in brick with a big piece of cast iron on the top. And contrast that to a typical home of the tree where you're cooking on an open hearth. all these holes are out in front of you. And you have a long skirt, as a woman you would have a long skirt on. Think about that. And think of this extra safety in the convenience we have. It's safe in the kitchen. You note that we have a kettle like this with a handle on it, and a flange. And you can see how we work it here. We just simply drop it down inside. So it's cooked on the sides as well as the bottom. Safe in the kitchen. And what they make here is a lot of soups and stews and things that bubble and simmer and boil that don't need constant attention. They eat a wide variety of things that we eat today, the meats and so forth, and the vegetables and those things. But they use them in the soups and stews that don't require a lot of attention. Because the lady has more things to do here than just simply cook for you. She has a lot going on in her life. She has keeping the house straight and doing a lot of other things, as you'll find out. So this is our kettle oven. Okay, I asked you about this thing earlier, so what do you think? Anybody have any guesses out there? Well, I'll help you out. It's basically a thumper for sauerkraut. Remember, these people are German. The one story, they grow about 300 head of cabbage for every resident in town. Right? So they grow big fields of it. Anyway, they'll take it, we shred it up on our device over here. If you can see, you get it all nicely shredded up, and you put it in a big, container, and they add salt and use this to pound it to break down the fibers. And this could be a job that the ladies would be doing, okay? And they do this all day while they're making the sauerkraut. They make a lot of it for the Germans. They eat a lot of it, and it's good for you, actually. Cabbage is good for you. And that's our sauerkraut. Now coming back over here, a little bit about some of the items along here. These are various things we will cook with. You notice we think this is a bowl, but really it's got holes in the bottom, so really it's a colander. Okay, so that's the old one. And over here, this is the new one we would use for our demonstrations today. What we have over here are mostly more modern things we purchased and we use in our demonstrations. I'll give a shout out now to our tinsmith, a very skilled craftsman you'll see later, but this is made in our tin shop here in Zoar. And it's actually copper, because the tinsmith doesn't always work in tin. The copper is very nice, very heavy, and we use this for wood pieces. Okay. A little bit about we were up to breakfast. The people went out and going to work about 5 o'clock in the morning when the bell rang. Now about 7:30, they're coming in looking for something to eat. And the lady said, here, I've been hard at work making it. And they come down, sit in the dining room we just came from, and they're going to have breakfast. Back out and they work. Mid-morning, a break time. They come back and they're going to have some bread and a little bit of cheese, maybe, something to drink. About 10 or 10:30, they're back out and they work. Back in, they come at noontime. That's the main meal of the day. Okay? That's typical of a farm environment, the big meals at noontime. And this is where you're going to have the big soups and the stews and so forth. And again, a bigger break. Back out to work. Mid-afternoon now, it's about 3 o'clock. Another break. It's called this, and they refer to as the brodette. Brot is bread in German. F, like sick, you would translate it in English, roughly bread time. Bread, some cheese, some leftover, some water. Maybe in a warmer day, the cider wagon comes on, you get some cider. If it's a really warm day and you're doing some really hot and heavy work, a pint of beer from the Zoar brewery would be typical. And again, you go back out and you work. Then you work into your early evening, and at which point time you come in, you have supper. Okay? Then breakfast, main meal at noontime, supper in the evening, with small breaks at midpoint and each between. Five different times a day you might have people in here eating. Then there might be a snack in your later evening, okay, before you go to bed. But they've taken something that we today now realize is healthy, and they do it. They spread their eating out over multiple occasions, where they're unlike us, who tend to have a tendency to skip the breakfast, late in the lunch, and have a huge dinner. they spread this thing out, which is actually much better for you health-wise. Okay? So this is our kitchen. Come on over with me, and we'll talk a little bit about another appliance. Again, I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Focus in there. And we're going to, there you go. What do you think you're going to use this for? This is made by actually by one of our volunteers at our tin shop here in Zoar, another place for the good guys. And put that in there and let you think about what you're going to use that for. And we'll talk about this. You see a series of bins? Remember how the gentleman in the other building talked about the houses? Houses being numbered? So we have house number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what we're going to pick up at a particular time is going to be the really nice space built that we're going to use for ourselves. And while everybody's given everything they need to eat, it's still, and use, it's still, you still don't want to waste. So it's still, you use it carefully. And you're going to pass out things like mashed. The lady from number 1 house who runs the kitchen here will also pass out these things. Okay? Now, you've had a chance to talk. You think among yourselves, what do you think this is for? Any guesses? Okay, here it is. It's an egg boiler. We will put that on the stove and we will boil eggs with it. Okay? Now, we have another thing here. You see we have a row of items sitting here. This first one here, well, look at this. What do you think, guys? It's an iron that you use for your clothes. And that's our introduction to think about our next room we're going to see is the laundry. And we have someone here that will explain it to you.
All right, before we go to Mary Lou, we're going to give you guys like a 5-minute intermission. We are going to switch phones to see if we can correct this audio. It might be the phone that we are filming on. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, about 5 minutes. We'll convene again at the half hour. And then that way, hopefully, that will correct the audio issues that we are having. Like I said, hopefully it's this phone. It might be just bad reception in old buildings. But join us again. We're going to stop this live feed, and then we're going to go live again in about 5 minutes.